Well, Prince Harry returns to London this week as part of his ongoing legal battle against the Daily Mail, and coincidentally, his family have skipped town. For more, we're joined by Royal Editor at the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers. Rusty, good morning to you. Nice to see your handsome face again. Look, pretty convenient timing, wouldn't you say?
Well, morning, Carl. Right back at you. But yeah, very convenient, one would say, that the royal family are not going to be anywhere to be seen this week, it would appear, because Prince Harry is going to be in town. He's jetting into the UK to be in London at the High Court for the start of his big trial against the Daily Mail. And this is going to be going on for 9 weeks, can you believe it? There's still some chance that he could make a settlement on the steps of the court like he did with the Sun newspaper. But there's so many people involved in this case. You've got Elton John, Liz Hurley, Sadie Frost, Prince Harry himself. So big case for Harry this
Round
week.
3, isn't it? I mean, what's the chances of success here, do you think, for him?
Well, it looks pretty good because obviously he's won a couple of the cases against the British media so far. He had a bit of a bruising experience with the British government, taking them to court over his taxpayer-funded security. That's the reason Harry is saying that he can't bring Meghan and the children to the UK. And he did get a very small, very brief meeting with the King last time he was here in September. That only lasted less than an hour. But the King has skipped town. Like you said, he's going to be in Scotland, as are the Prince and Princess of Wales. And it seems that everybody wants to keep their distance this time around, I think.
Yeah. Look, finally, Meghan Markle's posted an unseen throwback.
Well, Prince Harry is back in London this week, and already the atmosphere feels heavy with meaning. Officially, he has returned for one of the most consequential legal battles of his life. Unofficially, his arrival has once again exposed the fault lines running through Britain's media landscape and right through the heart of the royal family itself. As Harry touches down in the UK to face the publisher of the Daily Mail in the High Court, something else happens almost simultaneously. The rest of the royal family disappears, not metaphorically, physically. King Charles III is suddenly in Scotland. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are also nowhere near London. No overlapping schedules, no visible attempts at coordination, no accidental crossings of paths, and if anyone tells you this is coincidence, they are asking you to suspend common sense. The case that brought Harry back. Let's be absolutely clear about why Harry is here. He is not in London to stir drama. He is not here to provoke headlines or reignite family tensions. He is here because the legal system requires him to be. This High Court case is expected to last up to 9 weeks. 9 weeks of testimony, documents, disclosures and deeply uncomfortable truths about how sections of the British tabloid press allegedly operated for years. The claims involve unlawful information gathering, phone hacking, surveillance, and systematic intrusion into private lives. This isn't speculative gossip. These are allegations rooted in practices that have already been exposed in previous inquiries, and Harry is not standing alone. Joining him in this case are public figures like Elton John, Liz Hurley and Sadie Frost, individuals from different walks of life, all alleging they were targeted and exploited by the same system. That matters because it reframes the narrative. This is not one royal complaining about bad press. This is a pattern case, a system case, a reckoning. The optics nobody can ignore. Now let's talk about timing. Harry arrives in London and suddenly the monarch is in Scotland. The heir and his wife are also elsewhere. No constitutional crisis demanded their presence away from the capital. No unavoidable emergency required them to leave. These were choices, carefully timed choices. The trial is not a one-day appearance. This is not a symbolic drop-in. This is weeks of sustained attention on the mechanics of tabloid power and the uncomfortable reality of how closely that power has historically intersected with royal interests. For decades, the relationship between the monarchy and the British press followed an unspoken arrangement: access in exchange for favourable coverage, silence in exchange for protection, and scapegoats when necessary. It was a system that worked until it didn't. Prince Harry broke that system when he decided to take the tabloids to court. And once he did that, the royal family faced a choice: solidarity or distance. They chose distance. Harry's record. This is not his first win. One of the things the UK media often downplays is this simple fact. Prince Harry has been winning. He has already secured a settlement against the publisher of The Sun. That wasn't symbolic. That was costly financially and reputationally. It forced admissions. It forced payouts. It embarrassed institutions that once believed themselves untouchable. These cases are not publicity stunts. They are serious legal confrontations with real consequences, and that is precisely why this moment matters so much. There is still a possibility that this case could settle, even dramatically, on the steps of the court, as has happened before. But this time that becomes much harder. There are too many claimants, too many witnesses, too many documents, too many intersecting timelines. This isn't something that can be quietly swept away. The briefest of meetings, and then nothing. The last time Harry was in the UK, he managed to secure a meeting with his father. Less than an hour. Barely enough time for tea, let alone reconciliation. And now, nothing. No meeting planned, no overlap arranged, no attempt to even be seen in the same postcode. This is not about busy diaries. This is about discomfort. Because this case doesn't just challenge tabloids. It challenges the ecosystem that allowed them to operate with impunity for so long. Why this fight is personal for Harry. To understand why Harry is pursuing this so relentlessly, you have to understand his history. He grew up watching his mother be hunted by photographers. He saw how certain royals were protected while others were exposed. He witnessed how negative stories about one family member conveniently appeared whenever another needed positive coverage. This wasn't conspiracy. It was strategy. And when he married Meghan, that strategy didn't just continue, it escalated. The attacks became racialized. The dog whistles became louder. The outrage became more manufactured. Things that were praised or ignored when done by others suddenly became scandalous when associated with her. Harry didn't just watch history repeat itself. He watched it get worse. So when critics accuse him of being vindictive, they are missing the point entirely. This is not about revenge. This is about breaking a cycle that destroyed his mother and threatened to destroy his wife. That isn't drama. That is survival. The legal strength behind the case. From a legal standpoint, this case is far from flimsy. Experts have pointed out that the claims are tightly constructed and grounded in documented practices already exposed in previous scandals. This isn't just emotional testimony. This is about records, invoices, email chains, payments to private investigators, surveillance methods that were once normalized in Fleet Street newsrooms. Publishers have long tried to argue that wrongdoing was limited to rogue reporters. But pattern after pattern emerged. And in Harry's case, the timeline of intrusions aligns almost perfectly with major life events, relationships, military service, memorials for his mother. Nothing was off limits. That kind of documented persistence is damning. The media distraction playbook. Notice how much of the coverage avoids the substance of the case. Instead, the focus shifts to family drama, to speculation, to portraying Harry as isolated. But isolation does not weaken a legal argument. If anything, it strengthens the perception that he is willing to stand alone against something far larger than himself. And that brings us to security. Why Meghan and the children are not there. Harry has been unequivocal about this. Without adequate security, he does not feel it is safe to bring Meghan and their children to the UK. This is not theatrics. This is risk assessment. Yes, he lost his legal challenge against the British government over taxpayer-funded protection. But that case still exposed how uniquely vulnerable his situation is, a globally recognisable figure stripped of protection, still targeted by hostile media, expected to simply absorb the risk. So when people ask why Meghan isn't there or why the children haven't been seen in Britain, the answer is not manipulation or mystery. It is safety. And once again, the palace response is silence. What a decisive win would mean. Here's the question no one wants to confront. What happens if Harry wins decisively? A victory here wouldn't just validate his claims, it would undermine the credibility of outlets that have shaped public perception for decades. It would raise questions about who knew what and when. And it would be uncomfortable not just for newspapers, but for institutions that benefited from their loyalty. This case is not about revenge. It is about precedent. And while the royal family may have skipped town, the spotlight hasn't gone anywhere. If anything, it's getting brighter. Final thoughts. Prince Harry didn't ask for this fight, but once he chose to take it on, he refused to back down. He has been consistent. He has been methodical, and he has been willing to pay the personal cost. History may well look back on this moment not as family drama, but as a turning point when someone born into privilege decided to challenge the very system that once protected him, because he could no longer live with what it was destroying. If you found this breakdown insightful and you want more honest, in-depth conversations about the royal family, the media, and the stories behind the headlines, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Your support helps keep this channel independent, informed, and fearless. And if you'd like to go one step further, you can buy me a coffee to help support the work that goes into researching and producing these long-form deep dives. Every contribution truly makes a difference. Don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned, because this story is far from over.